Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all in the channel Accounting with Charu Agarwal, and today we will going to discuss the importance of international accounting principles and standards. International accounting refers to the study and application of accounting principles and standards that are applicable across different countries. Its purpose is to facilitate global business operation and ensure comparability of the financial statements. Basically, the importance of international accounting standards is to bring globalization as business operate internationally. Consistent accounting standards are essential because now the person sitting in India or investor sitting in India wants to know that whether he should operate in a company operating in France, China, Japan, and so on. So if the financial statements of all these companies in which the investor wants to invest in are based on a similar kind of standards, and the comparison and decision making of the investor would be more easier. So it boosts up the investors confidence, it enhances trust and transparency for investors and stakeholders. So basically the comparability is increased, allows for easier comparison of financial statement across borders. So accounting standards are basically the formal guidelines that dictate how the financial transaction and events should be reported in the financial statements. There are basically two types of international accounting standards, accounting standards, that are national and international. National standards are getting operated in US GAAP, and international standards example IFRS. IFRS are the standards which are developed by International Accounting Standard Board, IASB. It provides a global framework for financial reporting that enhances transparency and comparability. The history of IFRS started from the establishment of IASC in 1973, who gives the first international accounting standards to the uh, global network. 2001 IASC restructured to form IASB. IASC की restructuring हुई और एक new body existence में आई, that is called IASB, and in 2005 IFRS became mandatory for listed companies in the European Union. So basically, IFRS are principle based. The key principles that lays the foundation of IFRS are the accrual basis that recognizes revenues and expenses when they occur, not when then cash is exchanged. Going concern, it assumes that the entity will continue to operate indefinitely. Consistency, use of same accounting policies across periods. So major IFRS standards quoted as like IFRS 1 is for first time adoption of IFRS. Uh, IFRS 9 is for financial instrument. IFRS 15 is for revenue from contracts with customers. IFRS 16 is for leases, and IFRS 17 is for insurance contracts. Then basically introduction to other international accounting standards, that international accounting standards IAS, they were the older standards that were replaced or updated by the new IFRS. When IASB come into existence, they said that we want that our work should be recognized what we have done, so they didn't name them along with in the previous series of IAS. They renamed their principles as IFRS. So IAS is the older accounting standards which were still in existence somehow. And International Public Sector Accounting Standards, IPSAS, standards for public sector entities. These are basically working for public sector entities. If we compare what are IFRS versus US GAAP, only US GAAP I'm mentioning, that it is IFRS are principle based, bulky, and US GAAP are the rule based. So IFRS is more principle based, while US GAAP are the rule based. And revenue recognition, there are different criteria and methods for recognizing the revenue in both the standards. Measurement of assets, IFRS allows for revaluation of assets, and US GAAP typically does not allow for the revaluation of the assets. Benefits of adopting international accounting standards are that they increases the financial statements are more globally accepted, facilitates international investment in trade, and then they improved comparability for easier for investors to compare financial statements across borders, and enhanced transparency provides clearer financial information to the stakeholders. um, then while when something new come into existence, there comes the challenges in implementing these international accounting standards too. That are the transition costs associated with transitioning from local GAAP to IFRS, local GAAP to IFRS from लोकल गैप जो लोकल पे हमारे अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स के बेसिस पे हम अकाउंटिंग कर रहे थे, उस IFRS में आने में ट्रांजेक्शन में कुछ कॉस्ट लग रही थी अपने आपको, मतलब हमें अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ को ट्रेनिंग देनी पड़ी, उनको समझाना पड़ा. So all these processes involves cost, and of course these are complex. Some IFRS standards can be complex and require significant judgment. Training needs need for training for accountants and the financial professionals. Then IFRS adoption worldwide. Countries using IFRS, that list of countries that have adopted IFRS are like all the European countries have followed it, Australia, Canada, and countries not using IFRS are very few. Brief mention of the countries still using local US GAAP are like USA. फ्यूचर ट्रेंड्स इन इंटरनेशनल अकाउंटिंग सस्टेनेबिलिटी रिपोर्टिंग की तरफ ये लोग फोकस कर रहे हैं. ग्रोइंग एम्फेसिस और इंटीग्रेटिंग सस्टेनेबिलिटी इनटू फाइनेंशियल रिपोर्टिंग. Digital transformation impact of technology on accounting practices and standards, focusing on that too. Convergence efforts, ongoing efforts to align IFRS with other national स्टैंडर्ड्स. ऐसी कोशिश करी जा रही है कि जो नेशन की नीड है, जिसके बेसिस पे एक नेशन की कंपनी अपनी अकाउंटिंग करना चाहती है, उसी के साथ साथ ये हम IFRS को भी अलाइन कर पाए.